Every Star Trek movie ranked from worst to best. Few franchises have endured as long or as passionately as Star Trek. Since 1979 as the motion picture, the voyages of the Enterprise have leapt from the small screen to the cinema with wildly different results. Some films dared to push the boundaries of science fiction storytelling. Others, well, let's just say they belong in the Mutara Nebula of history. Ranking them from worst to best is always controversial, but that's part of the fun. Here's how the entire Star Trek movie canon stacks up. 13. Star Trek Nemesis 2002. Nemesis tried to give the Next Generation crew a dark, action-packed finale, but the result felt hollow. A young Tom Hardy as Shinzen should have been electric, but the script reduced him to a one-note villain. Even the much-anticipated wedding of Riker and Troy gets lost in the chaos. Fans hoping for an emotional send-off to Picard's crew were left with a pale imitation of the series' best episodes. 12. Star Trek V The Final Frontier in 1989. William Shatner's directorial debut aimed for cosmic profundity. What does God need with a starship, anyway? But landed in campy incoherence. Budget cuts, poor effects, and tonal whiplash turned a bold concept into a fan-punching bag. The saving grace, the camaraderie between Kirk, Spock, and MC Coy around a campfire, which at least feels authentically Trek. 11. Star Trek Insurrection 1998. This one plays like an overlong TNG episode rather than a cinematic event. The moral quandary about relocating a peaceful people has classic Trek DNA, but the execution is sluggish. Even the visual effects, normally a highlight, feel strangely muted. It's pleasant but forgettable, like a holodeck program you can't remember turning on. 10. Star Trek The Motion Picture 1979. The first Trek film had a monumental job. Resurrect the franchise with a big screen scope. The Refit Enterprise and Jerry Goldsmith's now iconic score are breathtaking, but the pacing is glacial. It's an awe-inspiring but distant experience, more 2001 than TOS. Admirable, but not yet the Trek we'd come to love on film. 9. Star Trek Beyond 2016. The third film of the Kelvin timeline captures the adventurous spirit of the original series better than its predecessor. Director Justin Lin leans into pulpy fun with motorcycle stunts and alien rock concerts, yes, really. Still, the villain crawl lacks depth, and the film sometimes feels like a greatest hits remix of Trek tropes rather than a bold step forward. 8. Star Trek Generations 1994. The handoff from Kirk to Picard should have been seamless, but instead feels awkward. Yet Generations has undeniable moments. The haunting destruction of the Enterprise D, Data's first steps toward true emotion, and a bittersweet swan song for Kirk, even if the death scene divided fans. A flawed but fascinating transitional film. 7. Star Trek Into Darkness 2013. J.J. Abrams' second Trek outing is visually stunning and briskly paced, but its controversial use of Khan as a mystery box twist undercuts its originality. The reversal of Wrath of Khan's sacrifice scene, Spock screaming Khan, is pure fan service. Still, the action and performances keep it from warping completely off course. 6. Star Trek III The Search for Spock 1984. Overshadowed by its predecessor, Search for Spock is actually a deeply emotional story about loyalty and friendship. Kirk sacrificing his beloved Enterprise to save Spock remains one of the franchise's boldest, most heroic beats. It's less polished than the best Trek films, but its heart is undeniable. 5. Star Trek VI The Undiscovered Country 1991. Nicholas Meyer returned to give the original cast a proper send-off, blending Cold War allegory with Shakespearean intrigue. Klingons quoting Hamlet, Kirk confronting his own prejudice, and a murder mystery aboard the Enterprise. This is Trek at its most politically astute, a dignified farewell to the crew who started it all. 4. Star Trek 2009. Abrams' reboot injected warp-speed energy into a franchise that had grown moribund. Casting younger versions of the original crew was risky, but the chemistry clicked instantly. The film's alternate timeline freed it from canon while honoring its roots. It's more space opera than Cerebro Trek, but it made the franchise feel exciting again. 3. Star Trek IV The Voyage Home 1986. The one with the whales. This eco-comedy could have been ridiculous, but it's delightful instead. Watching Kirk's crew navigate 1980 San Francisco, Spock nerve-pinching a punk on the bus, Chekhov asking for nuclear vessels, never gets old. It's the most crowd-pleasing Trek movie and proved the franchise could laugh at itself. 2. Star Trek II The Wrath of Khan 1982, still the gold standard for many. Nicholas Meyer took the franchise from the slow grandeur of the motion picture to a lean, thrilling naval-style adventure. Ricardo Montalban's Khan is an operatic villain, and Spock's self-sacrifice, the needs of the many, is as iconic as it gets. Emotional, action-packed, and perfectly paced. One Star Trek. First Contact 1996. Yes, this is controversial, but First Contact remains the high point of Trek on film. Jonathan Frakes' confident direction, the terrifying reinvention of the Borg, and Patrick Stewart's Captain Ahab-like obsession create a gripping, cinematic experience. It honors continuity while boldly going somewhere new. Exactly